founder of the Mercer County Coalition for Drug Awareness, an organization that is doing something here in Mercer County about our addiction problem. I am pleased to present, please give a warm welcome to Gloria McAlee.
Can you hear me? So, all right. I wanted to thank everyone, Jack, Vern, and Tony, for inviting me here today. This is something that's very important to me and to my husband. I started the Mercer County Coalition for Drug Awareness because my granddaughter was involved with drugs. Okay? At 16, she started with alcohol and marijuana. By 18, she was into heroin. She was a straight-A student. She studied Spanish, Japanese, and was a cheerleader for 4 years. Okay? The situation escalated over about 8 months. We had bench warrants issued. We were missing our appointments. We were missing court. Okay? I tried to fix her, and that didn't work. I never realized that I didn't cause it, I couldn't cure it, and I couldn't control it. She was in her addiction, all right? She didn't come home at night. She took me to places that I didn't want to be, all right? That, meaning she didn't take me places, but she would call me in the middle of the night, Nanny, can you come and get me? Nanny, I'm here, can you come and get me? Of course, I'm gonna go and get her at every turn. It didn't matter where she was because I was the fixer. I could always fix everything, and I was going to control this, I was going to fix this, I was going to make her whole again. There were times when I put myself in a lot of danger. I pulled up in front of drug dealers' houses. I sat there, I waited for them to come out. When they came out, they asked, "Are you here waiting for someone?" I said, "Oh, yes, I am. I'm here waiting for my granddaughter." They'd ask who she was. I'd tell them, and they'd say, "Well, she's here." And I go, "You're darn right she's here. And you have 5 minutes to get in there and get her butt out here before I hit the 1 on 911. And I would flash my phone at them. They would look at me and laugh and walk away shaking their heads. There were times when I sat in front of those homes and my son would call me and he'd say, "Mom, where are you?" And I'd say, "I'm sitting in front of that house." And he goes, "The drug dealers." And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Where's my daughter?" And I go, "She's right here in front of me." He'd say, "Get her in the car." She wouldn't get in the car. She didn't want to leave those people. Those were her friends. Those were the ones that supported her in her mind. My son came down and the police came with him. They warned my granddaughter Paige to get in the car or she was going to jail. She was still on probation. Okay, she didn't want to get in the car, but they told her, "You get in your grandmother's car and you go home with her," because that's where she lived at that point. I said, "No, she's not coming home with me." I said, "You can put her in my son's car. He can take her home." So she got in the car, but before that, I made a spectacle of myself because when the police knocked on the door and the man answered, I go, "There's the man that's selling my granddaughter heroin. Arrest him, take him off to jail." Well, they can't do that because they have to build a case first. Sometimes these cases might take a year. They have undercover cops involved. They have the AG. Now we have the FBI working in Mercer County. Okay? So we took her home. My son detoxed her upstairs in his home. 4 days later, she found her way out of the country, or not the country, out of the country, as in meaning the country, not the country of Pennsylvania, you know, the country of the United States, but she was out in the country between Mercer and Grove City. So she finds her way home. My husband and I are on our way out there for dinner with my son. We get the phone call, she's gone. We're flying out to his house, and then we're all jumping in different vehicles, running up and down the streets like crazy, out in the sticks, trying to find this girl who's already found her way back to Farrell in front of a dealer's house. Okay, dealers were calling my son saying, come get your daughter, because my son threatened them. If she shows back up here again, he goes, I'm gonna come down here and you're gonna wish I never did. We could not fix her. She had a disease. No one wakes up in the morning and says, hey, I want to grow up to be a drug addict. It doesn't work that way. It could be predisposed, like Fern said. My son had alcohol issues. He had a cocaine addiction in his younger years, and her mother also had alcohol issues. So 90 to 10, she's going to come down with something. And she was already using the alcohol and the marijuana at 16. Remember that. I had to find a way to deal with her addiction because this was making me sick. I was following her friends on Facebook. I was reading every article that had to do with her speaking to them. When she didn't come home at night, we were driving around the town looking for her, pulling up in front of drug dealers' houses, going back and forth. I had my husband doing it while I was at work. We had to find a way to deal with this sickness. So I started going to NA meetings in town, and the addicts told me, you need to get into her mind. You need to find out what is making her tick right now. And so consistently, I went over and over and over to these meetings. I learned everything I possibly could about an addict. My husband and I went down to Newcastle. We attended Nar-Anon meetings down there because we had none up here in Mercer County. I started attending classes down there that were put on by Lawrence County that had to do with addiction in the family. I saw our attorneys down there taking classes for their certifications, their CLE, I believe it is, classes. They were taking those. They had a program down there called Graduation Day. Our Judge St. John was down there on the bench. He was the judge in this program. They had a boy that was driving a car. He had his two friends with him, and he wrecked the car while he was drinking and driving, and they were killed. He was put on trial for this. It was a jury of his peers that sat off to the right, and they had to determine whether this boy sitting in a wheelchair on stage, you know, was going to be charged with manslaughter. It was a powerful program, a program that I said I want up here in Mercer County for our children. I told them, I want what you have. And out of that, I started what became the coalition. My husband, myself, a Sharpsville police chief, and a friend of ours whose daughter was also in addiction and just recently in recovery, we began this. There was nothing in Mercer County. Now we actually have a Nar-Anon program out of St. Bartholomew's Church in Sharpsville that meets every Thursday night in the social center at 6:15. This program is for families, for children, that their families are in addiction and they have no one to talk to. I encourage you, if you know anybody that needs that program, to tell them about it. Like I said, no one wakes up in the morning and says, hey, I want to grow up to be a drug addict in my life. It might be a choice the first time that they use. It could be a choice based on low self-esteem. It could be kids taunting them, it could be peer pressure, it could be pain caused by an accident that they were in. But after that, it becomes survival. It becomes survival because they don't want to go through withdrawal. And they're going to do everything they possibly can not to hit that bottom in that withdrawal. It's a severe withdrawal. It's intense vomiting. It's intense diarrhea. It is pain in your body that you could not imagine. If you magnify over and over and over a flu, that's what you have. You have chills. It's just horrible. Imagine your loved one going through that. We need to educate our teachers. We need to educate our parents. We need to have our families bring their children back to the dining room tables every day and ask them what's going on in their life. Families need to know who your friends are, who your children are hanging out with. My granddaughter's 16 years old, and here she's hanging out with kids that are 23, 24, and I'm like, what is this all about? This can't be good. Well, it definitely wasn't. So we know why she was hanging out, because at that point she was already getting the things that she needed by someone that would provide them for her. Don't ever say, this can't happen to me. This can't happen in my family, because it can. You could be sitting across the table from someone and not even know that they're addicted. The face of addiction has changed remarkably. It's now your doctors, your lawyers, it could be teachers. It could be the girl that's standing there cleaning your teeth in a dentist's office. To the students out there today, I want to say, do your friends challenge you to be the best person that you can be? If not, are they actually your friends? Are they going to stand behind you in the good times and the bad times? Because my granddaughter's friends all scattered like rats when she wrecked the car. Her best friend let her take all the blame when they were using heroin and the police showed up. Because why? Because you can't let me take the blame for this, because I'll lose my trust fund. A trust fund that didn't even exist, but my granddaughter believed her. And now those people, they're all gone. They're living their lives, they're having a great time, while she is now on her third try in a rehab. At this time, I'm proud to say that I believe this is working this time. She's changed her thought patterns. She's told me she doesn't want to live this way anymore. She doesn't want to go in and out of jail. She doesn't want to go in and out of rehabs. She wants to do what she needs to do. But she said no one told her when she first used what it was going to be like. They just said, here, try this. It'll make you feel good. So those are the kind of people that are out there talking to your children, that are making contact with them. People that are just saying, here, try this. These kids have no idea of the consequences that they're going to face in this lifetime once they use that drug. Before she left for rehab this last time, she just told me, Nanny, I just want to be normal again. But that's something she's going to have to fight the rest of her life. She's 20 years old, but I think she's finally found it. I'd like to encourage you to go to meetings. Go to these NA meetings. Go to these Nar-Anon meetings and learn everything that you possibly can. Read up on this. We need to bring this awareness out there, and we need people to realize that there should not be stigma out there attached to this. Our loved ones need us to be behind them no matter what. You just can't walk away from a loved one and say, you're on your own. We don't want nothing to do with you anymore until you get clean. Because you have never been in their skin. We don't know what it's like to fight that disease. But there are other people that do. And those are the ones that we need to connect up with and we need to talk to. We need to do everything that we possibly can because we are losing a generation of children right now. And what's going to be here to run our country?